Josh Barber, joined today by the great people of Certified Financial Group, the people who are planning your financial future, making your tomorrow just a little bit better than your today. Joining us today, we have Wynn Smith and Joe Bert, certified financial planners with the Certified Financial Group. And you know by now that for more than 30 years, the Certified Financial Group professionals have been answering your questions for every week here on WDBO's On the Money. They have become Central Florida's most listened to financial call-in program. And Wynn Smith and Joe Bert will be answering those questions for you at 844-580-9326 or utilize the open mic feature on the WDBO app. Or call in at 407-869-9800, where Dave Balakrishnan will be taking calls off the air. Today's topic is Parents as ATMs, protecting your retirement while supporting grown kids.
How about that? Huh? Well, welcome aboard, Josh. You're a new voice with us, and glad to have you there. You got that intro nailed pretty good. I like you. I like you. I like you. So, yeah, Wynn and I are here this morning to take your calls, as you said, as we have now for over 30 years. This is not a 1-hour infomercial. We are here to answer our clients' questions, listeners' questions, anything that might be on your mind regarding your personal finances. We talk about real estate, long-term health care, insurance, reverse mortgages, stocks, bonds, 401ks, IRAs, all the things that Wynn and I and the 15 other certified financial planners do for our clients, guiding them to and through their retirement years, as we have now for many, many years. As I said, on Monday through Friday, we do that for a fee, but on Saturday morning, we are here for you absolutely free. So if you have any questions, as Josh said, all you have to do is pick up the phone and dial these magic numbers. That's your cue, Josh.
And those numbers again are 844-580-9326. That's 844-580-WDBO, or call 407-869-9800. And you can take calls off the air with Dave Balakrishnan.
There we go. Okay, Wynn, what's the topic?
Well, Joe, the topic this week is parents as ATMs. So protecting your retirement while helping your grown kids. And yeah, and you know, one thing I enjoy about this profession is because there's things that are similar, but yet they're different. They're similar enough that we can become experts, but they're different enough that it stays interesting.
Yep.
And as you know, a lot of times topics that we pick deal with like recent cases that we've dealt with. And I had one recently, and it reminded me of a case I had. Well, not really a case, but an interaction I had well over 20 years ago when I had an appointment and I was going in to meet someone. The receptionist saw my business card and she says, "I'm getting ready to retire. I'd like to talk to you." And I said, "Sure." Went in my appointment, came back out, talked to the lady, and turned out that she was about a year from retirement, had a paid-for house, but she had a situation where her son had gotten involved with some drugs and was facing some legal problems, and she and her husband wanted to step in and help. And she was looking what was the best way to provide that financial support.
Mm-hmm.
So we talked about different things, and I told her that at the end, I said, well, my experience is that people need to kind of understand what the consequences are of their actions. And by you helping your son get out of trouble might just delay him eventually figuring out the consequences of his actions. So I'd say I really don't recommend you refinance your house or liquidate your retirement accounts or, draw on some of these resources,
Right.
know.
Just, that's not uncommon, unfortunately.
Well, I'll just tell you how the story ended. I saw her again a couple of years later after that and just said, "Hey, how you doing? How's your son?" Well, her son was in prison. They had actually she and her husband had liquidated their retirement accounts, paying legal fees, and actually had refinanced their house, and she was still working because she had to.
Yeah.
Now, that was an extreme example, but it was similar to a client I met with recently. Again, these are a couple who they were getting ready to retire. They're kind of in that red zone.
Mm-hmm.
They're a few years out, wanting to kind of get their house in order and everything. And, we were going through different expenses and things, and there was about $1,200-$1,500 a month that was kind of there, and they weren't kind of really forthcoming in what that money was going for, and it turned out it was going for an adult child.
In terms of support?
In terms of support,
right.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And so I went out and I did some research because I was curious as to, how big of an issue is this, and I found out it's
really prevalent.
It's very prevalent. I mean, there's some studies that have been done Pew Research did one in 2013 that found out that if you adults with at least one child 18 or over, 63% were providing some type of financial assistance in the past year. And they came back again and did the study again in 2019, and they limited it to 18 to 29 years old. It had dropped from 63 to 59%. And
still over 50%.
Still over 50%.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing about that research was they actually went out and surveyed the children that were receiving the support, and 59% of the parents said they were giving it, but only 45% of the children said they were receiving it. So there's a little disconnect there.
The check's lost in the mail, maybe.
I don't know. And then savings.com did a study in 2022, and they found, again, 50% of parents were providing some type of support, and that average amount was over $1,000 a month. They came back in 2025, and again, 50%, and was still providing support, but the amount had grown to over, actually the average was $1,474 a month.
Wow.
So apparently there's a lot of this going on out there, and the takeaway for this is just for people to understand how parental support can affect your retirement.
Hugely.
Yeah, hugely.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, so you're talking about, being reduced retirement savings, having to withdraw from those retirement funds, like the lady I met with, and you've got opportunity costs there, having to delay your retirement or not even to be able to retire at all, and just the stress and just the long-term lifestyle, not having that quality of retirement at life.
As a parent, we all love our children.
Yeah.
At least most of them, anyway.
Yeah.
And we don't want to see them in the gutter. We want to be sure that they can, get through life. But unfortunately, if you make them dependent on you, you don't get them a chance to grow up. And that is really the tough part about parenting. And all kids come into this world with different skills and talents, and some have obstacles, some, unfortunately, some physical challenges that they have. And there's always exceptions to those kinds of things. But my gosh, if we're coddling our kids, as in many cases, you're really, really penalizing retirement. And this is where retirement planning comes into play. And we're not here to criticize you, but we're here to show you what the impact of that decision is. And I have had these conversations with parents and the kids. And, you show them in black and white that if this continues, you're going to be taking care of mom and dad as best you can, or maybe you can't. So you'll all be living in somebody's basement.
Well, that's the thing. Like on the airplane, if the oxygen mask drops down, the parents, you're supposed to put it on yourself, then you put it on the child.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And as parents, it's a tough road to hoe. And I can understand and I can appreciate it. I see it with folks that we've counseled over the years, and you want to help your children, and oftentimes it's not just the parents, but it's the grandparents that are stepping into the breach and helping, and understandably so. And unfortunately, not to have the show as a downer, but this is what's going on out there, and you have to face facts, is that's becoming more and more difficult for the younger generation to find jobs. Big article in today's Wall Street Journal once again about the difficulty of the younger generation to become fully employed. And then when the younger generation is employed, they're not happy with the job that they have, or they don't want to take that job because they can't, maintain the lifestyle that they want, or their lifestyle. And then they go on a credit card binge, and then they ruin their credit. And this is why it's so important when early on you got to understand the difference between wants and needs. Instill that in your children. Let them know that money doesn't come out of an ATM machine, although it does, but it really doesn't. And you have to understand that. And that's we're preaching here.
Well, but sometimes we need to have a sermon, right?
Well, that's correct. And once again, where I was going with this is doing the planning with our clients and sit down and let's look at this, and then you can make an intelligent, rational decision. I think most people, when we're in that situation, don't realize the impact of that decision and what it really costs you in terms of long-term financial security. You look at the immediate thing of $1,000, $2,000, whatever it might be on a regular basis, but what does that mean for you 5, 10, 15, and 20 years down the road when that paycheck stops and you're dependent on whatever you've been able to save and accumulate? So those, but that's what planning is all about. I mean, you can't continue in life and just spend the money like it's going to come in forever.
Right. And the two things we bring to the table is one, like you said, Joe, numbers don't lie.
Yep.
And two, we're not emotionally attached to our client situation.
Yeah.
So we're objective.
Yeah, I think that's the one thing that a certified financial planner can bring to the table is we're being straightforward, honest. We don't pull any punches. We'll tell you exactly what we see, and we will give you remedies. We'll tell you what you need to do to fix it.
Exactly.
We don't want you to send you out the door and say, well, it's too bad we can't help you. We'll tell you what you need to do. Now, the medicine might not be pleasant, but it's real. It's real because you're going to have to face it sooner or later. The sooner you face up to it, the better off you are. So that's our message for this morning. Anything more you want to cover on that topic?
Well, I mean, I know we're coming up on the break here, but I mean, there are some things that are obviously there's some financial things that we can help clients with. I mean, showing them the implications and kind of different strategies and things. But there's also some, I guess they fall under the soft skills of what we do as planners. Some of the things that we can do and just in helping parents deal with these situations. And one of the first ones that is sit down with your child and determine whether the money you're giving them is a loan or a gift or what it actually is. Mm-hmm. And then coming up and maybe setting some boundaries on helping them as to what you're doing and what you can do. And then, of course, the other one that was out there when I was doing the research was, sit down, get professional guidance, sit down with somebody, sit down with the CFP and actually look at the numbers and help, maybe as part of helping the child establish a budget or something like that.
Right. Yeah, and our role as financial planners, as certified financial planners, is not just about managing the money. It's really managing human behavior. And that, we're as much Warren Buffett as we are Dr. Phil's. And, there's two sides to it. And you have to understand it, and you have to be compassionate, understanding, but you also have to be real with folks, and that's what I think we bring to the table. So if you want any more information about what we do, how we might be able to help you and your family, we're not credit counselors. We can't get you out of debt, but we can show you, really where the path that you're on may be leading you. So once again, if you want more information about what Wynn and I and the 15 other certified financial planners do day in and day out, helping our clients to and through their retirement years, you can go to our website. That's financialgroup.com, financialgroup.com. Take it away, Josh.
If you want to join the conversation, call in at 844-580-9326. We've got open lines. Feel free to send in your question using the WDBO app, the open mic feature there. You're listening to On the Money, where we're planning You're listening to On the Money, where we're planning tomorrow
today,
with a certified
You
financial
got it,
group.
Josh. Hang in there, buddy.
And you go, veal, oh, I like veal. What do you got on skirt steak? Oh, we got some great skirt steak. Just came in yesterday from Montana. Skirt steak is one of my favorite, marinated up a little bit. It's fantastic. Lou will never say to you, Elliot, it's a little long on the meat here, big guy. Your cholesterol is getting high. Why don't you go down to the fishmonger a couple blocks and have a nice piece of salmon? Right? He'll never do that. Why? His job is to sell me meat, and I go in, actually the same way I go into the Toyota dealership, because I like Toyotas, and I trust the salesman to sell me a good product if I trust him. And the fact that he's got my interest at heart vis-a-vis my expectations for selling me that thing. By the same token, when I go to see a dietitian, I know she's going to look at all of my labs, she's going to take all the measurements, she's going to run all of her analysis, and she's going to absolutely give me her best thinking on what's best for me. Whether she's a vegetarian or a meat lover, likes this, likes that, if she thinks I should be doing something differently, even if it's not good for her, she's going to give me an opinion that's for my interest. So what's the difference between a fiduciary and the brokers? Well, these are dietitians, these are butchers. It's that simple. Brokers are butchers selling product. Fiduciaries are dietitians looking after your health. The problem is most people think that their butcher is a dietitian. So when one of your moms or dads or friends calls the broker and says, I got 200 grand, I sold a little piece of property, or I got some inheritance, what should I do with it? They're going in thinking they're talking to a dietitian, and they're really talking to Lou the butcher.
What is a fiduciary? When it comes to investing, a fiduciary is legally required to act in your best interest. For 40 years, planners at Certified Financial Group have been guiding our local clients toward financial peace of mind. The rest of the world is still catching up, but our team of certified financial planners are the local, experienced fiduciaries you can trust. Certified Financial Group are your Central Florida planners. Call us today.
40 years ago, I had a dream of building the best personal financial consulting firm in Central Florida. Now, with 14 certified financial planners acting as fiduciaries, I believe we're there. But don't take my word for it.
As we approach retirement, we have the freedom of choice.
Peace of mind that we now have, that's everything to us.
The people that work here are honest and caring, and I feel like I can go to sleep at night.
So schedule your no-obligation visit today at financialgroup.com, or we're planning tomorrow, today. For more than 40 years, our certified financial planner professionals, acting as fiduciaries, have been providing retirement planning and asset management for a fee to countless families across Central Florida.
We've been with Certified since 1992.
We're now into the third or fourth generation of clients that have come to CFG and the team here to do a great job.
It's been so long since I've been doing this that I just don't even worry about anything anymore.
We're Certified Financial Group, but we're planning tomorrow, today. Our fiduciary approach of providing retirement planning and investment management for a fee seems to resonate with our clients. But don't take my word for it.
I knew a gentleman that I worked with who had come to Certified Financial Group.
A friend of mine recommended them, and they were totally correct how good they are.
I had heard from somebody else that it was the best one in town.
I've sent several of my teacher friends here.
We're Certified Financial Group, but we're planning tomorrow, today. You may be new to the area, but we're not. For more than 40 years, our certified financial planner professionals, acting as fiduciaries, have been providing retirement planning and asset management for a fee to countless families across Central Florida.
We've been with Certified since 1992.
We're now into the third or fourth generation of clients that have come to CFG and the team here to do a great job.
It's been so long since I've been doing this that I just don't even worry about anything anymore.
We're Certified Financial Group, but we're planning tomorrow, today. Black Monday, the dot-com bust, 9/11, and now two wars. We pretty much
Welcome back to On the Money here on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. You can listen live on the WDBO app wherever you are. Today we have Wynn Smith and Joe Bert. We have a text question from Tom in Orlando. I have an annuity earmarked for my long-term care needs. Is this the best way to self-fund any cost? Joe, Wynn?
Well, first of all, let's talk about what an annuity is. Annuity is nothing more than a contract you have with a life insurance company to provide you an income and so over a certain period of time, or simply allow the money to accumulate on a tax-deferred basis. And so this person owns an annuity. I presume it's not a long-term care annuity, probably a standard vanilla.
Yeah, I'd like to know what type of annuity it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I mean, there's fixed annuities, there are indexed annuities, there are variable annuities. That would be one thing. Tom, if you're listening, I guess your short answer is it depends. There's really not enough information there in your question for us to give you a definitive answer. But the other thing I'd also want to know is like how long you've had the annuity. What's your basis? How much growth do you have in that annuity? Because that could come into play. And then also, what's your purpose for the annuity if you don't have those long-term care expenses? Is it to supplement income for your spouse? Is it to pass on to a beneficiary? Typically, annuities aren't the best thing to pass on because you don't get the stepped-up basis. So I'd also want to know kind of maybe what your estate planning goals are. But as Joe started talking about, there are some annuities out there that aren't kind of designed for long-term care. They're long-term care forward types of annuities. They're built on an annuity chassis, but they really are designed to provide long-term care benefits. And typically the way they're structured is if you do need some type of long-term care, they will use the annuity funds first, but then they'll have a continuation of care benefits. So you actually can get leverage out of your initial annuity money that goes beyond what you would have. So like if you just got a regular fixed annuity now and you do need long-term care, whatever the balance of that annuity is, that's what you have available. With one of these other types of annuities, you could have that plus additional money available.
So let's restate that. Let's say you have 100,000. Let's say you have an annuity, you put in 50,000, and over the years it's grown to 100,000. And so if you need long-term care, you look into your other assets, you may start tapping into that new annuity, but it's still $100,000 of value. What you're referring to is the new long-term care annuity products that will take that $100,000 and give you some multiple, some increase on that $100,000, and in some cases guarantee you care for life, depending on your situation. And you could do what's so-called a 1035 exchange, which allows you to do a tax-free rollover or transfer. So there are some new vehicles out there, but without knowing his particular situation, it's hard to advise. But I would suggest that you sit down with a certified financial planner and discuss your needs for that annuity, the one you have now, or you may be able to get more mileage out of it and can really create something to give you more protection down the road than what you really have.
Well, and the other thing about those annuities is that they have underwriting requirements. So you have to qualify for the long-term care, but they've also come out, there are also annuities out there that, as you mentioned, the 1035 exchange. So let's say you've got the 100,000, but you can exchange it in these other type of annuities. And the money that you pull out that goes for your loan, there is no continuation of benefit. But the problem that you're going to run into, Tom, is that when you pull money out of that annuity, your gain is going to be taxed at ordinary income tax rates.
Right.
These other type of annuities, as long as that gain is going toward long-term care expense, it comes out tax-free.
Right. And what you want to use is a fiduciary-friendly annuity. There's good ones out there, and there's some that are terrible. And unfortunately, annuities get a bad rap because people don't know about the fiduciary annuities. So there are benefits out there. So I hear the bumper music there. Josh, take it away.
If you want to call in, we've got open lines for you. Be the first in line to get your questions answered by certified financial planners Wynn Smith and Joe Bert. That number is 844-580-9326. You're listening to On the Money, where we're planning tomorrow
Today.
With the Certified Financial Group.
All of her analysis, and she's going to absolutely give me her best thinking on what's best for me. Whether she's a vegetarian or a meat lover, likes this, likes that. If she thinks I should be doing something differently, even if it's not good for her, she's going to give me an opinion that's for my interest. So what's the difference between a fiduciary and the brokers? Well, these are dietitians, these are butchers. It's that simple. Brokers are butchers selling product. Fiduciaries are dietitians looking after your health. The problem is most people think that their butcher is a dietitian. So when one of your moms or dads or friends calls the broker and says, you know, I got 200 grand, I sold a little piece of property, or I got some inheritance, what should I do with it? They're going in thinking they're talking to a dietitian, and they're really talking to Lou the butcher.
What is a fiduciary? When it comes to investing, a fiduciary is legally required to act in your best interest. For 40 years, planners at Certified Financial Group have been guiding our local clients toward financial peace of mind. The rest of the world is still catching up, but our team of certified financial planners are the local, experienced fiduciaries you can trust. Certified Financial Group are your Central Florida planners. Call us today.
40 years ago, I had a dream of building the best personal financial consulting firm in Central Florida. Now, with 14 certified financial planners acting as fiduciaries, I believe we're there. But don't take my word for it.
As we approach retirement, we have the freedom of choice.
Peace of mind that we now have, that's everything to us.
The people that work here are honest and caring, and I feel like I can go to sleep at night.
So schedule your no-obligation visit today at financialgroup.com, or we're planning tomorrow, today. For more than 40 years, our certified financial planner professionals acting as fiduciaries have been providing retirement planning and asset management for a fee to countless families across Central Florida.
We've been with Certified since 1992.
We're now into the third or fourth generation of clients that have come to CFG and the team here to do a great job.
It's been so long since I've been doing this that I just don't even worry about anything anymore.
We're Certified Financial Group, where we're planning tomorrow, today. Our fiduciary approach of providing retirement planning and investment management for a fee seems to resonate with our clients. But don't take my word for it.
I knew a gentleman that I worked with who had come to Certified Financial Group.
A friend of mine recommended them, and they were totally correct how good they are.
I had heard from somebody else that it was the best one in town.
I've sent several of my teacher friends here.
We're Certified Financial Group, where we're planning tomorrow, today. You may be new to the area, but we're not. For more than 40 years, our certified financial planner professionals, acting as fiduciaries and providing retirement planning and asset management for a fee to countless families across Central Florida.
We've been with Certified since 1992.
We're now into the third or fourth generation of clients that have come to CFG and the team here to do a great job.
It's been so long since I've been doing this that I just don't even worry about anything anymore.
We're Certified Financial Group, where we're planning tomorrow, today. Black Monday, the dot-com bust, 9/11, and now 2 wars. We've pretty much seen it all. Acting as fiduciaries, our CFP professionals have been a steady hand guiding our clients to and through their retirement years.
No reason to be worried about anything.
Stay the course. You stay the course, and you get there.
I don't have to worry about it like I know a lot of people look at it every day. I don't have to do that with the team here at Certified Financial Group.
We're Certified Financial Group, where we're planning tomorrow, today. Are you tired of trying to reach your advisor through a call center and being put on hold for 20 minutes? That's why we don't use one, and our clients seem to appreciate the personal touch.
They always answer my questions and really care about what's going on with me.
You can trust what they say, and they do what they say, and it gives you a comfort feeling it's hard to find in the world today.
You know, waiting for you to call almost. You almost feel like that.
We're Certified Financial Group, where we're planning tomorrow, today.
As an investor, you want peace of mind. You need to know that your advisor is not only thoroughly competent, but also a fiduciary. In other words, he or she is acting at all times in your best interests. You need to trust your advisor, regardless of how much money you have to invest or what part of the world you're in. It might not be your money you're entrusting the advisor with. Perhaps you're a board member of a charity or foundation whose future depends on prudent investment. Or perhaps you have the responsibility of making investment decisions on behalf of other people. As the trustee of a retirement plan, the decisions you make can have a direct impact on the lives of your employees. Whatever type of investor you are, the solution is to use an advisor certified by the Center for Fiduciary Excellence. A CFEX certified advisory firm demonstrates its adherence to a global fiduciary standard of excellence, a defined standard with specific criteria covering 21.
Welcome back to On the Money, right here on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. If you have a question about your finances, give us a call here at 844-580-9326 or call Dave Palakrishnan off the air on 407-869-9800. We've got another text question in here from Jimmy in College Park. What is the difference between investment management and wealth management?
They sound the same.
You know, they are thrown around a lot. They are used interchangeably, I think, sometimes, but they are different. So I guess, in my opinion, Joe, you may have something
Go ahead.
different, but I see investment managers just focusing basically on investments.
Exactly.
And I see wealth management is a lot more comprehensive.
It's more holistic.
Yeah, more holistic.
Yeah, it's managing everything that you have and figuring out where you are today and how to get there where you are. But looking at all elements of your financial life is not just managing your current portfolio, but also looking at perhaps your outside investments, your IRA or your 401ks, your 403bs, your 457, how they interrelate, and then looking at your beneficiary situation, and then of course being sure that the assets are titled properly so you can avoid probate. That's an easy thing to do if you know what you're doing in that regard. Many people don't need trusts. Unfortunately, I think they're oversold by the legal community, legal profession. But if you know what you're doing, you can many times avoid the cost of a trust and certainly avoid probate. So that's part of wealth management. And wealth, as you know, as a certified financial planner, we manage money for our clients. But you know the 5 elements: tax planning. Right? You need to look at where you are tax-wise and how you can minimize your taxes going forward, and do Roth conversions make sense at this particular point, and what's the impact of making that big Roth conversion. So once again, it's not just a matter of looking at your investments, which drive the whole, or I should say pull the whole train, but it's understanding what's behind the locomotive.
Right, and obviously that's a big part of what we do here. But I'm assuming that's the reason why we're all CFPs here too, because of that holistic approach that we take.
Yeah, I think that's what differentiates us from a lot of folks out there that are just investment managers. And there's a place for that, but there is, as certified financial planners, we take a broader approach to what we do. Of course, we charge a fee for our services. Nothing, I don't think, worthwhile is free in this world, but we will tell you what that fee is going in, and you can determine whether or not there is a fit here. But our clients, we've got many clients over nearly 50 years, and fortunately, we don't lose many, generally, unfortunately, because they're dying today.
Yes.
Or moving, that happens as well. So,
and I also think that holistic approach makes it easier for us to be fiduciaries.
Yeah. I mean, oh, speaking of that, I wanted to let our listeners know that we've just completed our 10th CFEX renewal certification year. And the CFEX certification is a very, very important thing to us, and it should be to the general public if you're looking for working with a fiduciary. The CFEX certification separates us from actually, as we say in some of the publications we put out, fewer than 2% of the firms worldwide have what's called CFEX certification. It's from the Center for Fiduciary Excellence, and it's a detailed analysis of the firm. And then they dig in not only into the firm, of course, the practices that we follow, but also our advisors. So it's the assurance to the general public that the advisors that are with the firm are acting as fiduciaries, not just in saying it, but really are. And they audit you. I mean, they come in and they look at everything that you're doing, and it's a detailed report that we have to provide to them, and they back it up, we have to back it up, and it is a rigorous. It's worse than a tax audit.
Oh wow!
But it is extensive. But we're proud to have it, and that, I think, is the thing that we offer to the general public. So not only are all of our advisors accredited investment fiduciaries and the work that they do on the investment side, but the firm is certified for fiduciary excellence by CFEX. And if you want more information about CFEX, you can go to cefex.org. That's cefex.org, or go to our website, financialgroup.com, and click on the certified difference. It'll tell you the distinction that we hold very, very proudly. So that's what we do. And I see we got another text question float in there, Josh.
Yeah, we have a text question from Steve in Winter Park asking, when is the best time during the year to do Roth conversions? Early, middle, late?
What do you think, Wynn?
Well, it kind of depends. I mean, some of that would, there's, I guess, advantages and disadvantages of all three. I think that if your income's going to vary during the year, you probably want to wait till the end of the year so you have a better idea of what tax bracket you're going to be in, because you don't want the Roth conversions to bump you up into a higher tax bracket.
Right, exactly.
I would think maybe at the first of the year, if you're kind of pretty much on a fixed income, or you've got to know what your income is going to do, you may want to go ahead and do that so that you get that growth in the Roth account that's going to be tax free eventually. And I guess maybe the middle of the year would be maybe a compromise in between two. I don't know, Joe. What do you think?
Split the difference. Well, the other thing is you don't need to do it in a lump sum.
That's true. That's a good point.
You could dollar cost average out of your IRA and pull it out gradually over a period of 12 months or 52 weeks or whatever you want to do. You could do it that way and kind of hedge your bets there. But one thing I want to, caution our listeners about, and a lot of people don't realize this or understand this, that when you do that Roth conversion, because you have to pay taxes, in order for the numbers to come anywhere close to working, you've got to pay taxes for money outside of the IRA. In other words, if you're doing a $100,000 Roth conversion, you want to have $100,000 going into the Roth and then pay the taxes that are due on that $100,000 conversions from outside money. In other words, don't take the $100,000 and subtract 22% from that and end up with $78,000 because you've really dug yourself a big hole and you'll never get back to where you need to be. So yeah, a lot of people don't factor that in. They're going to do the Roth conversion. Oh, wait a minute, I got to pay some taxes out of this. Then take more money out of the IRA, pay taxes on the money they're taking out of the IRA to pay the taxes. And then it's an ongoing problem. So you really want to sit down with a certified financial planner and have him or her look at that situation for you. And the good news is that with today's sophisticated software, we can do a lot of modeling. We can look at, okay, this is what you're considering doing. And then how does it affect your Social Security? And your Social Security and your Medicare.
Yeah, Medicare's huge.
Right, because you can be, your IRMA premium on your Part B of your Medicare can go up dramatically. So this is not really do it yourself time. It's sometimes worth it to pay a modest fee to have this figured out. Have a certified financial planner put it up on the screen and say, okay, if we do this, this is what the impact is. If we do that, this is what the impact is. And where should I be taking my money from in my retirement years? Where should I be doing? Should I even be doing Roth conversions? Does it make sense? I think unfortunately, the investment world has kind of hyped the Roth a little bit too much as an opportunity to perhaps do some transactions and maybe not necessarily in investing public's best interest. But it's, they are very, very powerful tools if you know what you're doing. But if you don't know what you're doing, as I said, you can really create some problems. So the takeaway here is if you're going to do a Roth conversion, be sure that you pay the taxes with money outside of the IRA, that you're going to convert the dollar for dollar into that Roth, and that'll at least give you an opportunity to get ahead of the game and take that money out tax-free. But I'm still suspect about Roths always being tax-free. I'm kind of a lone voice out there in the wilderness, but I am fearful that one of these days, the IRS and the government's going to change the taxation on Roths like they did with Social Security, and they're going to means test it, which means simply that if your income is such and such a level, you'll have to pay taxes on a certain level of your Roth conversion. All that, they're going to see those billions and billions of dollars out there that haven't been taxed. And just like they did with Social Security up until 1973, Social Security was totally tax-free, and the rules changed. And like I like to say, anytime Congress is in session, your money's in jeopardy. So you can make that, if you're going to make that conversion in a 10 or 12% tax bracket, I have no problem. But if you're bumping up against a 22 or 24% tax bracket, it really doesn't make a lot of sense in my mind. So.
And what was the article you wrote, Joe, about the Roth, wolf and sheep?
Yeah, I wrote that for Kiplinger some years ago. In fact, you can still Google it. Google Roth, a wolf in sheep's clothing, Roth, a wolf in sheep's clothing, and he'll tell you my personal feelings. And I think that those feelings are shared unanimously here within the firm because we've been around long enough to see that Congress changes the rules. Congress can change the rules. And, what you think you've got a bird in the hand today look at what happened in real estate in the early 80s, with how the real estate market collapsed. So you had great benefits in the 81 tax law. The 86 tax law came along and changed it overnight. We had the savings and loan crisis and real estate prices tumbled and people's values, they had built their financial future on real estate, and they changed the rules on you. So you got to be careful. And I'm always a believer of bird in the hand. You know what the tax law is today. Use it to its max. Don't anticipate that tax law will always be like that. And once again, the good news is that we do financial planning with our software. We have the ability to get those updates really quick and look at, okay, this is what it was yesterday. Now this is what it is today. Let's see how it impacts you. And as certified financial planners, that's what we do for our clients. So anyway, that's a big pitch on what we do.
And another thing I would add to that, Joe, I think to emphasize your point, a lot of times people don't start looking at these Roth conversions, so they start looking at those required minimum distributions, those RMDs. And if you're, if that's 2 or 3 years down the road, you may not have time for that Roth to play out, to it be advantageous. So, I do agree. I do think there's too much in the industry about Roth conversions because it just sounds good because people don't like paying taxes.
Right. Oh, yeah, I understand it. And it can be very, very beneficial in certain circumstances and can be a real nightmare if you don't know what you're doing. As I've said before on the program, we've had clients come in over the years that made that big Roth conversion the year before, and they're close to crying when they realize what they did with it to their tax situation and their Medicare premium. So you got to be very careful with it, and that's what we do day in and day out for our clients.
And that's why planning is so important because you need to look 10, 15 years. The sooner you start planning, the better off you're going to be, and then also. You may be able to take advantage of Roths now as opposed to worry about doing conversions later with 401ks being enhanced now with Roth contributions, and there may be other strategies.
Yep, there are. All right, Josh, I see we have another text question there.
Yes, we have a question. This is kind of a loaded question. Tariffs, tariffs, tariffs. Can you explain tariffs, says Betty from Orlando.
Wynn?
Well, I'm not an economist, but
You played one on the radio.
yeah, but I did study economics in school, though. Well, tariffs, you know, it's funny. Betty, that's a great question. I mean, because you're hearing a lot about tariffs in the news right now.
What are they?
Yeah, what are they? And because my understanding is traditionally a tariff is a duty, a fee that a country levies on the goods that are imported into that country.
Right.
And they're typically done either to protect an industry that is like fledgling industry. It's an industry that's starting to develop and grow in that country, that the government wants that, or maybe for national security. So in other words, you know, the steel industry would be an industry we would be protective of because we couldn't build tanks without steel, right?
Right.
So that's typically kind of a way. And then also the other way is like if you've got another country who's maybe dumping products into your country, there's the government subsidizing and they're trying to gather market share or maybe even, you know, run companies in a certain industry out of business. It's kind of a way to level the playing field.
Right. China's been accused of that.
Yep. But and I think maybe the confusion now is it's you know, you hear about like who's going to pay those tariffs. I think that's part of the confusion. And
once again, it's basically a tax to get in the border.
Yeah.
The government collects the money.
Yeah.
And then the question is, okay, who pays this extra cost to bring that good or service in some cases here into the country?
And I'm not aware of any time where it's the government of the country where the import's coming from, and it's typically not going to be the producer of what's coming. It typically is the firm that's importing the goods, and eventually, I guess it trickles down to the customer.
Right.
Because they're going to pass those costs along once they can't absorb them anymore.
Right. The cost of that raw material has just increased. The cost of that good has increased. So who covers that cost? And that's the big argument, the big discussion right now. Is it really going to impact us all? I think it's going to impact us to some degree. Of course, when this was Liberation Day, back when President Trump announced it back in April, everybody thought the world was going to come to an end and inflation was going to skyrocket. So far, it's been pretty tame because the consumers are absorbing it to some degree. The producers that you're using the raw material, absorbing it. Of course, which does trickle down to all of us because that impacts everybody's profits. So, but we'll see how that plays out. I hear the bumper music there, Josh.
Thank you so much, Wynn and Joe. If you want to join the conversation, we've got one more segment coming up. Call in at 844-580-9326 or leave an open mic on the WDBO app. You're listening to On the Money, where we're planning tomorrow,
today,
with the Certified Financial Group.
Financial Group, where we're planning tomorrow, today. Black Monday, the dot-com bust, 9/11, and now 2 wars. We've pretty much seen it all. Acting as fiduciaries, our CFP professionals have been a steady hand guiding our clients to and through their retirement years.
No reason to be worried about anything.
Stay the course. You stay the course, and you get there.
I don't have to worry about it like I know a lot of people look at it every day. I don't have to do that with the team here at Certified Financial Group.
We're Certified Financial Group, where we're planning tomorrow, today. Are you tired of trying to reach your advisor through a call center and being put on hold for 20 minutes? That's why we don't use one, and our clients seem to appreciate the personal touch.
They always answer my questions and really care about what's going on with me.
You can trust what they say, and they do what they say, and it gives you a comfort feeling it's hard to find in the world today.
You know, waiting for you to call almost. You almost feel like that.
We're Certified Financial Group, where we're planning tomorrow, today.
As an investor, you want peace of mind. You need to know that your advisor is not only thoroughly competent, but also a fiduciary. In other words, he or she is acting at all times in your best interests. You need to trust your advisor, regardless of how much money you have to invest or what part of the world you're in. It might not be your money you're entrusting the advisor with. Perhaps you're a board member of a charity or foundation whose future depends on prudent investment. Or perhaps you have the responsibility of making investment decisions on behalf of other people. As the trustee of a retirement plan, the decisions you make can have a direct impact on the lives of your employees. Whatever type of investor you are, the solution is to use an advisor certified by the Center for Fiduciary Excellence. A ChFC certified advisory firm demonstrates its adherence to a global fiduciary standard of excellence, a defined standard with specific criteria covering 21 best practices. The documented, repeatable processes and the evidence-based decision-making that ChFC demands are more likely to generate investment portfolios that match client needs and expectations. And because the firm voluntarily agrees to a rigorous annual audit, investors can rest assured that their advisor continues to work to the highest professional standards. This independent verification is even more critical for trustees and investment committee members of retirement plans who are legally required to conduct regular due diligence on their service providers. Use a ChFC certified firm, and that job has been done already by an expert at no expense to the plan. So why leave anything to chance? Insist on working with investment professionals you can truly trust. Insist on using a ChFC certified advisor.
So you guys don't know Chicago, but I'm sure in your neighborhood you guys have an old school butcher where you walk in and there's a bunch of guys, no gloves, big white aprons, and there's Frank and there's Stevie and there's Mikey. And these guys know more about meat and more about animals and more about cooking the meat than any of us will ever learn. And so you walk in and you say, hey, Lou, I need to, I'm barbecuing this weekend, right? What do you like? And Lou goes to the big racks of stuff he has underneath the glass, and he goes, the veal chops, just in from Argentina, they are the bomb. And you go, veal, ooh, I like veal. Well, what do you got on skirt steak? Oh, we got some great skirt steak, just came in yesterday from Montana. Skirt steak is one of my favorite, marinated up a little bit, it's fantastic. Lou will never say to you, Elliot, it's a little long on the meat here, big guy, your cholesterol is getting high. Why don't you go down to the fishmonger a couple blocks and have a nice piece of salmon?
I'm in AM 580. We're in the last leg of the show, so give us a call here at 407-869-9800, where Dave Balakrishan is taking calls off the air if you missed us, or call right now at 844-580-9326. Now, Wynn and Joe, I hear we have some upcoming workshops in. Tell me more about Score My Funds.
Well, we've got a couple of upcoming workshops in September. On September the 3rd from 6:30 to 8 p.m.
That's a Wednesday.
That's a Wednesday evening. Charles Curry is going to be doing Social Security planning, basic rules, and claiming strategies. And then on September the 13th, which is a Saturday, from 10 until 11:30 a.m., Dave Balakrishna is going to be doing savvy Social Security planning for couples. And, of course, Dave's also taking questions off the air if you'd like to call in to speak with Dave.
So those workshops fill up fast. If you want more information about that, you can go to our website, financialgroup.com. That's financialgroup.com. Click on workshops, and you can make your reservation right there in line. And before I get to score my funds, Wall Street Journal just came across the wire that President Zelensky will be meeting with President Trump in the White House on Monday. And President Trump is promising direct security guarantees for Ukraine.
Wow.
After his European discussion with the European leaders. So things are moving in that direction. I also saw where Hillary Clinton says that if he pulls this off, she's going to nominate him for the Nobel Peace Prize. So we'll see what happens there.
Wow.
How about that? Let's keep our fingers crossed, folks. Maybe some positive things are going to come out of this. All right, Score My Funds. Score My Funds is an opportunity for our listeners to have your mutual funds and ETFs analyzed. In fact, this comes from the Center for Fiduciary Studies that we ascribe to. It'll tell you the quality of your investments that you have is measured on 11 distinct criteria, everything from manager tenure to fees to performance to alpha and Sharpe ratios, which is a measure of return versus risk. 11 distinct criteria, and we score them a scale from 0 through 100, with 0 being the best score, kind of like your golf, the lower the better. And 100, you want to get near it, and we will do that for you absolutely free. So if you want to have your funds scored that you have in your brokerage account, your IRA account, all you need to do is go to scoremyfunds.com. That's scoremyfunds.com, and put in the tickers. And if you don't know the tickers, there's a pull-down menu. Put in the fund's name or the ETF's name. It'll give you the ticker, and we will send that report to you absolutely free. And when people get their report, sometimes they're pretty shocked. They thought they had a great fund, and they don't realize that it may not be nearly as good as what their peers are doing. So that's what we provide for our listeners. Once again, it's absolutely free. We will get you that report within 48 hours. If you'd like to follow up for the no obligation visit here at our office, you can do that as well. So if you want more information about what we do, how we do it, go to our website. That's financialgroup.com. financialgroup.com. We're providing retirement planning and investment advice to our listeners here now for over close to 50 years here at Certified Financial Group, and we're proud to have you as a client. So once again, that's financialgroup.com. And I see we're closing in on the bottom of the hour. Josh, it's been a pleasure here being with our listeners again, as we have been for going on close to 40 years now.
Wow, time flies, huh?
It really is. So, yeah, and stay warm this weekend.
I don't think that'll be a problem.
Stay dry, maybe.
Yes.
Yeah. So, all right, Josh, take it away.
And stay dry we will. Another hour of certified on money passing by very quickly. If a question popped into your head, fear not. We can leave, go get your question next week if you leave an open mic on the WDBO app, or call 407-869-9800, where Dave Balakrishna can take your call off air. We'll have more from the very best certified financial planners like Wynn Smith and Joe Bert next Saturday, and every Saturday. You just listen to On the Money, where we're planning tomorrow
Today
with the Certified Financial Group.